Summer 1965. A station wagon rolls down a two-lane highway, windows down, radio crackling, Beach Boys. 4 kids bounce loose in the back. No seat belts, no booster seats, one riding the wheel well, facing backward. Mom lights a cigarette with one hand, steering with her knee. Dad's beer sweats in the cup holder. Nobody's worried, nobody's watching. It's just Tuesday. Every parent on that road was doing the exact same thing. Half of that 10-minute drive would get you arrested today. None of it survived the century. Number 15. On summer evenings across America, a truck rolled slowly through residential neighborhoods, spraying a thick white chemical fog into the open air. The chemical was DDT, and children chased the truck on their bicycles directly into the cloud. The fog rolled low across the lawns like weather. The smell was sweet and faintly metallic. Kids on Schwinn Stingrays pedaled straight into it, vanishing for a few seconds, then reappearing on the other side, laughing. Mothers watched from the porch. Some waved at the driver. DDT was manufactured by many major chemical firms, including Monsanto and DuPont, based on the discovery by Geigy. The fog so thick you lost sight of the kid in front of you. Nobody questioned it, because the government said it was safe. Rachel Carson published Silent Spring in 1962. The EPA banned DDT a decade later. Every kid who chased that truck still remembers the taste in the back of the throat. But the fog truck was not the only errand a child ran without a second thought. Number 14. Parents routinely sent children to the corner store to buy cigarettes. While enforcement was lax and vending machines were common, many states already had statutory age limits of 16 or 18 for buying tobacco. A 9-year-old walking into the drugstore with a quarter and a note from his mother. Pack of Pall Malls. Pall Mall cost 26 cents a pack in 1963. Lucky Strike, 25 cents. The cigarette vending machine sat in the bowling alley lobby, the laundromat, the back wall of the diner. Drop in the coins, pull the knob, the pack falls into the metal tray. No human interaction required. The cashier never blinked. He knew whose kid you were, and he knew your mother's brand by heart. Today, the federal purchase age is 21. In 1963, a kid buying cigarettes was not a crime. It was a chore. If the inside of a store sounds casual, consider what was happening in the parking lot. Number 13. Children rode in the open beds of pickup trucks on public roads. No restraint, no canopy, no law against it. A Ford F-100 or a Chevy C-10. 5 kids sitting on the wheel wells with their legs dangling over the tailgate. Bare legs against the hot metal ridges in July. Wind pulling the hair sideways at 40 miles an hour. Going to the swimming hole, the feed store, the county fair. The exhaust mixing with road dust and summer air. Nobody called it dangerous, it was called Saturday. The first real taste of speed and open air most kids ever had. Today, it is illegal for passengers under 18 in most states. The wind did not change. The law did. Number 12. The pickup was not the only thing burning through the afternoon without a permit. Every family on the block had a backyard burn barrel. A 55-gallon steel drum with holes punched in the sides. Standard waste disposal. Paper, vegetable scraps, cardboard, whatever the kitchen produced that week. The smell of burning paper mixed with the acrid tang of something plastic hitting the flame by accident. Embers floating upward at dusk like slow orange fireflies. Dad poking the pile down with a rake handle. Sears sold metal trash burners in the catalog right next to the wheelbarrows. It was not pollution, it was Tuesday. The barrel was as ordinary as the mailbox. Today, open burning is banned in most municipalities under Clean Air Act regulations. The barrel is gone. The smoke is gone. The smell of it still lives in the memory of everyone who stood downwind. And speaking of things that should not have been touched with bare hands. Number 11. In science classrooms across America, teachers cracked open mercury thermometers and poured liquid mercury onto lab tables. Students played with it with their fingers. The silver bead rolling across the black slate surface. Students pushing it with their thumbs, splitting it into smaller beads, nudging them back together into one heavy pool. The impossible weight of it cupped in the palm. The way it refused to stick to skin. Mercury thermometers manufactured by Taylor Instruments and Becton Dickinson. Chemistry sets sold at the 5 and dime with real mercury included in a glass vial. Nobody wore gloves. Nobody washed their hands after. The teacher smiled because curiosity was the point and the mercury was the lesson. Today, mercury is classified as hazardous waste. A single broken thermometer in a school can trigger a hazardous materials response. The silver bead that once rolled across every lab table in America is now treated like a crime scene. 5 items in, and every single one was just called growing up. Nobody filed a report. Nobody called a lawyer. Nobody posted a warning label. The laws did not change because these things suddenly became dangerous. They were always dangerous. What changed was the belief that a scraped knee or a close call was part of the education. That risk itself was the lesson. And survival was the only diploma that counted. If mercury on a lab table sounds reckless, consider what was flying through the backyard. Number 10. Lawn darts. 12-inch steel-tipped projectiles weighted like small javelins and sold as a family game. Jarts. Manufactured by Regent Sports Corporation. Sold at Sears, Kmart, and Western Auto for $3 to $5 a set. The satisfying thud when it landed clean. The whistling arc as it climbed 15 or 20 feet into the air. Bare feet in the grass all around the target zone. A toy with a steel point sold right next to the frisbees and the badminton sets. In 1988, a 7-year-old girl named Michelle Snow was killed by a lawn dart in her backyard. The Consumer Product Safety Commission banned them that year. For 2 decades, they were in every garage in America, and nobody blinked. Number 9. The steel tip was in the air. Inside the car, there was nothing at all. No car seat, no seat belt, no restraint of any kind for children. A baby on the mother's lap in the front seat of a Ford Country Squire. A toddler standing on the bench seat of a Buick Electra with his face against the windshield. Kids lying on the rear window deck of a sedan like it was a shelf built for napping. The back of a station wagon on a road trip, seats folded flat, 3 kids rolling around with a Coleman cooler and a bag of groceries. The federal seatbelt mandate for new vehicles did not arrive until 1968. Your mother's arm shooting across your chest at a sudden stop. That was the seatbelt. That was the only one you trusted anyway. Today, all 50 states mandate child restraints. The arm is not enough anymore. But for an entire generation, it was everything. Number 8. If nobody was strapped inside the car, imagine who was standing on the shoulder with a thumb in the air. Hitchhiking was not desperation, it was transportation. A thumb extended on the gravel shoulder of Route 66. A GI heading back to base in uniform. A college kid with a canvas duffel bag. The passenger door of a Dodge Dart swinging open from the inside. How far are you going? Jack Kerouac turned it into literature. The military turned it into logistics. Everyone else just called it getting somewhere. A stranger stopped. You climbed in. He drove you where you needed to go. You both forgot about it by dinner. Today, hitchhiking is illegal or restricted in most states. Soliciting a ride on an interstate is a citable offense in nearly every jurisdiction. The road is the same. The trust is not. Number 7. The stranger behind the wheel was sober more often than not, but not always. And for most of the 1960s, that was nobody's business but his own. Open containers in a moving vehicle were legal in nearly every state. A can of Schlitz or Pabst Blue Ribbon wedged between the thighs on a 2-lane road. A 6-pack of Falstaff on the bench seat. The church key bottle opener rattling around in the glove box. Empties tossed out the window into the ditch. The line between a cold beer and a drunk driver did not exist because nobody had drawn it yet. Mothers Against Drunk Driving was not founded until 1980. The National Minimum Drinking Age Act was passed in 1984, forcing states to raise their legal age to 21 by 1986. The law was 40 years behind what the barstool already knew. Number 6. The adults were driving with a beer in one hand. The children were driving without a license at all. In rural America, kids as young as 10 drove trucks on public roads. Nobody stopped them. A 12-year-old behind the wheel of a Ford farm truck on a county blacktop, feet barely reaching the pedals. On some trucks, a wooden block wired to the accelerator to make up the difference. Tractors by age 8. A John Deere Model B or a Ford 8N rattling down the center line with no turn signal and no mirror. The gear shift taller than the boy's shoulder. Nobody taught you how to drive. Your father put you behind the wheel, pointed at the road, and said, "Figure it out." And you did, because there was no other option. The lesson and the test were the same thing. Today, graduated licensing laws require permits at 15 or 16. The kid behind that wheel is gone. The thread connecting every item on this list is not recklessness. It is trust. Trust in a child to figure things out. Trust in a neighbor to keep watch. Trust that a person could manage risk without a regulation managing it for him. That trust did not disappear on its own. It was legislated out of daily life, one statute at a time. Number 5. If a man could not be trusted to raise his kids without a manual, he certainly could not be trusted to change his own oil. But he did. And what he did with the used oil afterward would now be a federal offense. Saturday morning in the driveway, a Chevrolet up on ramps. Quaker State or Pennzoil. 35 cents a quart. 5 quarts of black oil draining into a shallow pan, then poured into a Folgers coffee can and carried to the back of the yard. Some men dumped it on the gravel to keep the dust down. The rainbow sheen on a puddle after rain. Every man on the block changed his own oil. It was not ignorance. It was ownership. He maintained what belonged to him because that is what the word meant. Today, improper disposal of used oil is a federal violation. Fines reach $50,000. The driveway is cleaner now. The hands are softer. Number 4. The oil went into the ground. The lead was already on the walls. Lead-based paint was the premium choice for American homes, furniture, toys, and cribs. It covered better and lasted longer than anything else on the shelf. Dutch Boy white lead paint by the National Lead Company. Sherwin-Williams with the Cover the Earth logo on the can. The sweet, chalky taste of a chip peeling off the windowsill. A toddler chewing on a painted crib rail. The fine dust on the porch railing that came off on your palm. The best paint money could buy was quietly poisoning the children sleeping in the rooms it decorated. Nobody knew. When the truth came out, the blame fell on the homeowner for using what the store sold him for 40 years. Lead paint was banned for homes in 1978. Remediation now requires certified contractors. The product did exactly what the manufacturer promised. The manufacturer just never mentioned everything else it was doing. Number 3. The lead was invisible. The next one was loud enough to shake the windows 2 blocks away. Cherry bombs and M80s were sold openly at roadside stands and used by children without an adult in sight. The cherry bomb, a red sphere the size of a gumball with a green fuse. The M80, a cardboard tube packed with flash powder. The concussion you felt in the chest from 20 feet away. Mailboxes, coffee cans, anthills, ponds. The ringing in the ears for an hour after. Sold at fireworks stands across the South and the Midwest for a few pennies apiece. 4th of July, 1963, sounded like an artillery range. Every boy on the block had powder burns on his fingers by the morning of the 5th. The holiday was loud because freedom was loud, and nobody had yet decided the noise was the problem. Both were classified as explosive devices under the Child Protection Act of 1966. Today, possessing one can carry a federal felony charge. The 4th is quieter now. That is not a compliment. Number 2. The cherry bomb left a ringing in the ears. But the next one left a mark that went deeper than anything a firecracker could reach. Any adult on the block had the unspoken right to correct a neighbor's child, and the parents expected it. Mrs. Henderson catching you cutting through her flower bed, a hand on the collar of your shirt, a swat on the backside, a voice that did not ask permission and did not need to. Then she walked to the phone and called your mother. Your mother thanked her. 2 doors down, Mr. Kowalski pulling you off the roof of his garage by the belt loop and marching you home without a word. It was not punishment. It was proof that someone was watching. That you mattered enough for a grown woman to stop what she was doing and set you straight. The village was not a slogan. It was a system, and every adult on the block was part of it. Today, physical contact with a neighbor's child can result in assault charges. A stern word from a stranger can trigger a police report. The village did not collapse on its own. It was taken apart by people who never lived in one. Number 1. Every item on this list carried some measure of risk, but the thing that held them all together, the single freedom that made every one of them possible, was the simplest and most dangerous of all. A child was allowed to leave the house in the morning and not come home until dark. The screen door banging shut on a spring hinge. A bicycle with no handbrakes and no helmet. A kid in cut-off jeans and canvas sneakers gone to the creek. Gone to the railroad tracks. Gone to the construction site at the edge of town. The woods behind the school. No phone. No GPS. No check-in. A peanut butter sandwich in wax paper stuffed in a back pocket. A pocket knife. One rule: be home when the streetlights come on. There was no schedule. No supervision. No clipboard. A 10-year-old disappeared into the neighborhood for 9 hours, and the only clock was the sun. He climbed trees that could break. He swam in ponds nobody tested. He built forts out of scrap lumber and rusty nails. He came home with skinned knees and a story he would never tell his mother. She did not ask. She could read it in the dirt on his face and the grin underneath it. In 2015, Danielle and Alexander Maytiv of Silver Spring, Maryland, were investigated by Child Protective Services. Their offense was allowing their 10-year-old and 6-year-old to walk home from a park alone. A walk. In daylight. In their own neighborhood. Today, leaving a child unsupervised below a certain age can constitute criminal neglect in dozens of states. 70% of parents now say they would not give their children the same freedom they had. Not because the world grew more dangerous. Violent crime against children has fallen steadily since the early 1990s. But because the laws decided that freedom itself was the risk, What was taken was not just the open afternoon or the bicycle disappearing around the corner. It was the belief that a child could be trusted with an empty day, that the world, with all its edges, was the place where you learned to navigate by being allowed to try. Somewhere right now, a streetlight is buzzing on at the end of a quiet block. The shadows are stretching long across a cracked sidewalk. And there is no kid on a bicycle racing home with dirt on his knees. Not because he does not want to be out there, because someone decided he is not allowed.